Naruto was kidnapped by Orochimaru, part 4, or 5, I don't remember. And that's why we left off on him basically taking in Neji because he was basically abandoned by his clan. So we start off at them waking up, getting called by Ambu to with Neji there and Tensei. So Naruto, he and his team gets told that there's a whole bunch of Sounin coming their way to attack, and they want them to go and stop it. So Naruto and his team, they head out and they start attacking Ninja, and then they have to take a break because they get tired. They lay down in a place, and Naruto, we basically say Naruto recently, he's been working on a technique that he learned from watching Kakashi, and it's basically lightning blade, but though it's a special ability that he got from his Hyuga style. He basically infuses his fist with lightning while using the Hyuga style Gentle fist, and it basically can go through people really easy. So basically like lightning blade, just not lightning blade, just a Hyuga style lightning blade basically. That's what Naruto will call it too. So they go back. Well, this night they are Neji sleep, and Naruto, he can't go to sleep. And he's training on this ability. So Tenten walks up to him, and Tenten tells him that she liked him for since they went on their first C rank, and how she loved Naruto. And Naruto tells her how he's sorry that he can't feel that he doesn't feel the same way, and even if he did, he still couldn't tell her so they don't get distracted during when they fight. So Tenten, she goes to sleep crying, and Naruto, he feels bad, but he really can't do nothing about that. So they go back to the field the next day, and there's only about half of the ninja left. And they go out, Naruto, he yells lightning style, well, Hyuga style, lightning blade. And he does the technique that I was talking about. He charges, he kills like 15 of them, and then he charges in front of somebody, and then they basically, right before they finna get stabbed, Naruto, he feels his hand go through somebody's heart, but he thinks this is the enemy ninja until he hears somebody laughing, and he looks up, and this is Tenten, and he starts crying, and I kept saying, why did Tenten do this? And Tenten said, because there's no point of her living anymore if Naruto doesn't love her. And then they start crying, and Naruto, he goes into a vortex, and he goes off and kills everybody. And then they make it back to the village. Naruto passes out, and Neji is able to take him back. But by the time they do that, Naruto, he's like in a coma for 2 weeks. And then he wakes up, and he sees Jiraiya. And Jiraiya tells him about how they need to go find a new Hokage, and he wants Naruto to come with him. So Naruto, he leaves, and Naruto, he's basically just training more on his Hyuga style lightning blade and his sage mode. And by now he's almost has a perfect sage mode, but they walk into a bar, and Naruto, he got a few drinks, pretty drunk, and Jiraiya didn't think this was a good idea because he knows how strong Naruto is, and he knows how mad he can get. And so if he fights somebody, he's gonna kill him. So they see Tsunade, and then they sit down talking to Tsunade, and she starts talking bad on the fourth, in the third, basically all the Hokages, and this makes Naruto mad, cause he knows the fourth is his father. And then he tells Tsunade that he wants to make a bet with her, and she agrees. And this bet is basically if he beats her, if he beats her, then she has to come to the village and become the Hokage. And then she makes a bet that if he's able to even touch her, then she will do it. And Naruto, this makes him even more mad because he thinks that she's underestimating him, which she is, but it just makes him mad. And then they go outside, and Naruto, he body flickers behind Tsunade and kicks her. And then he makes and she's like on the floor. She's still pretty young. They both are. And then Naruto, he makes Hyuga style lightning blade. He starts to get more angry and angry, remembering what happened to Tenten. Then he charges at her, and then Jiraiya steps in and blocks for Tsunade. And she told him how he didn't have to do that. It's not like the kid was gonna hurt him or anything, gonna hurt her or anything. And she told Jiraiya tells Tsunade how many people Naruto's killed with that jutsu, and how he even killed his own friend with that jutsu on accident. This surprises Tsunade because she's never. And Naruto, he's in a bingo book now, so she is surprised when she hears Naruto's story and kind of feel bad for him. So Naruto and Tsunade basically head back to the village, but before that, still have the whole thing with Orochimaru. I'm not gonna go over that. So Naruto, he sees Tsunade basically finna get stabbed until he basically body flickers in front of what's his name? I forgot. In front of Orochimaru's servant, and he kicks him in the stomach and he flies. And then he teleports behind him and makes a Rasengan and shoves it in his back. And then Naruto teleports in front of him again and kicks him in the chin. He goes flying. And then Naruto slams him back down to the floor, and he basically breaks his rib. And then he looks over to Orochimaru. He summons a snake, and he makes his snake kill the other snake. Then he makes a Hyuga style lightning blade and charges over to Orochimaru and teleports behind him and cuts off his arm and his leg. And then Orochimaru gets finished. But they eventually go back to the village, and we're gonna say Guy realizes how bad Naruto's life's been recently, and he goes to the side and decides to teach Naruto the gates. Naruto basically in a month learns the first two gates. Pretty sure it's the gate of opening and the gate of healing or something, but just know he learns the first two gates. And basically Naruto's really realizing how dark Naruto's becoming and how powerful he's becoming by the day, and he recruits Naruto as an Anbu. Naruto basically becomes an Anbu. And one day, Neji and Naruto are chilling at home. It's Naruto's off day. And they're chilling at home, and they're eating ramen and watching TV when they get a knock on the door for them to go and basically Sasuke retrieval art. They get their team. It's Neji, Naruto as leader this time, Shikamaru, Rock Lee, and then I was gonna put Tenten on this team, but Tenten is dead. So it's Neji, Naruto, Shikamaru, Lee, Kiba, Hinata, and Chody. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yep. And then Naruto, the whole way they basically until they get to Jirobo, Naruto's basically keeping Neji from killing Hinata because he knows how much Neji hates Hinata. And then Naruto and Neji see Jirobo basically finna trap them in that thing until Naruto basically makes a huge Rasengan and hits Jirobo with it before he's able to keep them in that thing. And then Choji decides that he should stay and fight him. And then we basically go through all the fights and they stay the same. People stay who fight each other until Kiba and Hinata fight together. Because I'm pretty sure I made a Kiba and Hinata ship. Well, it really doesn't matter who's ship with Hinata. I'm pretty sure I made a Kiba or Shino. But it really doesn't matter to me right now. So Naruto, he goes ahead and he sees Kimamaru and him and Rock Lee are left. And Naruto, he sees Sasuke and he tells Rock Lee that he's gonna have to fight him this time. But he got him, and then he tells Lee that he has to promise to live. And Lee promises that he'll leave, that he'll come out alive. And then Naruto, he goes to Sasuke and they start their fight. Naruto basically told him how he thought they were friends and how he won't let Sasuke leave. And Naruto, he eventually opens the gate, the gate of opening. And even with Sasuke's 2 Tomo, he can't see Naruto until he awakens to 3 Tomo. And then Naruto, he's able to keep up. He's able to see Naruto, not able to dodge and block everything, but he's able to keep up with him a little bit. So he's taking less damage, and he realizes that he's not going to be able to keep this up. Naruto realizes that. So he enters the second gate and realizes that he's just going to have to take out Sasuke really quick. And then he makes a Rasengan, and it's automatically stronger because it's infused with the second gate. So he runs in front of not Naruto. He runs in front of Sasuke and shoves it into Sasuke's stomach. And then Sasuke completely breaks the Mado's foot, and it's like tilting over. And Naruto takes Sasuke, was finna take Sasuke back to the village until he lost too much blood and he's basically too exhausted and he passes out on the floor. And Sakura comes and gets Sasuke, and Kakashi comes and gets Naruto. And then they basically go back there, and we're gonna say Naruto, he wakes up and he sees Neji and he sees Sakura. Once Sakura sees he's awake, she tries to go for a punch to Naruto until Neji catches it. And Neji sees all the bruises and scars that Neji has, and he's basically been informed on what happened to the whole team that he was with, how they all almost was killed. And Naruto tells him to leave her alone and how he deserved it, how he let them all get hurt, and she tells Naruto that he deserves to die for hurting Sasuke. And this irritates Naruto because he thought that him and Sakura were pretty good friends. In his opinion, he thought they were friends until this happened, and this basically makes a tear flow down Naruto's eye, and he leaves, and Neji tries to stop him and tell him that he's too tired, he's too injured to go, and then he passes out right before he walks out the door. And then Neji puts him back in his bed, and he throws Sakura out the hospital. And like 2 weeks later, Naruto, is able to leave the hospital, and he basically tried to apologize to everybody on the team until they said that it wasn't his fault, but he's still blaming himself, and he's still been getting threats from Sakura, and him and Sasuke have basically been getting closer, and they basically train together. He made Sasuke realize that he can get stronger in the village training with them. So Naruto in these past 2 weeks has learned these past months, another 2 month time skip, and he basically learned the four gates he's learned, and he's learned Leaf Hurricane and the reverse Lotus. So Naruto, he basically is called by Jiraiya. He's been told by the Jiraiya that they're gonna go on a 3-year training trip, and I think I know who this is gonna be, guys. I just don't know for sure. I actually don't have any idea why I'm like capping. I don't have any idea who this is gonna be. It might not be one. Naruto honestly might end up with Neji. You never know. So Naruto eventually goes on this trip, and he basically takes Sasuke with him, and Sasuke, and Kakashi go with Jiraiya. Kakashi goes to help train Sasuke's Sharingan, but Naruto is basically working on a new Rasengan that he's been thinking of. It's basically a water style Rasengan. Since no, it's a fire style Rasengan. I don't know if I already made him. No, it's gonna be an explosion style Rasengan. He basically is able to shove the Rasengan in somebody, and then it explodes on that person. It's basically like a landmine. He pushes it onto somebody, and it stays there, and for like 3 seconds, it explodes. So Naruto, he learns that in like the first month. So Naruto, he learns that, and then the second, for like 2 years, he's been working on mastering Kurama's chakra, and he basically learned, and him and Kurama are basically friends now, and he hasn't learned KCM yet, because Kurama hasn't thought of it to be necessary for him yet, because he really's never gotten that big of a mess yet. So we're gonna say for the 3rd year, God comes to help Naruto train in the gates, and we're gonna pass another year, and it's like the 3rd year in a month, and we're gonna say in between these years, Jiraiya's expanded it for like 4, and Naruto basically has all 8 gates, but he doesn't use the 8th one, because he was told that he can die, even though he has learned that his Kurama constantly healing him prevents him from dying using the 8 gates, but he still hasn't used it because he's never been in such a situation. And Naruto, he's basically traveling around the world in the 4th month. So, well, the last 11 months. In the first month, he basically visits the wave and visits Tazuna, his grandson. He basically taught Tazuna's grandson the Rasengan and how to clone Jutsu and the snake summoning. And he's perfected Sage Mode, so he can combine Sage Mode and the 8 gates together, and is pretty OP. So Naruto, the second, well, the third month of the 4th year, he went to the sand to chill with Gaara and hang out. Honestly, might make up a character for Naruto ship. And Naruto, I'm probably gonna make Naruto go rogue. And we're gonna say Naruto, he's been thinking more about Sakura, and he's starting to grow a crush on Sakura and thinking that he was right. Sakura was right. He should have never hurt their teammate. And Naruto, he ends it early on the 3rd month when he finally gets the sand because he doesn't really know anywhere else. And he has a big bounty on his head because he's in the bingo books as an X-rank ninja, and everybody's trying to kill him. And he has like about 3 billion yen on his head. So Naruto, he basically goes back to the Leaf, and he gets greeted by Neji and Rock Lee and Guy first. And Kakashi and Sasuke came a year earlier, and he basically gets greeted by Kakashi, Lee, Sasuke, Guy, and Neji, and they're all chilling at the barbecue shop until it's like pretty late. Until now he's trying to go to his house, and he goes there. Him and Neji are chilling, and they go to sleep. And we're gonna say they got a bigger apartment for Neji to live there, so it's 2 bedrooms. So Naruto doesn't have to sleep on the couch, because Neji thought that wasn't fair for him to just run into Naruto's life and just steal his bed. So, but that's when I'm gonna leave it off. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss when I upload another video. Peace.